today I want to do something that I do for people all the time, but I don't think like the YouTube audience understands what we do as loan officers. So I'm going to peel back the curtain on what we do as loan officers. Specifically, here's the scenario. I've got a borrower, a couple who they have a ton of assets, a lot of money in the bank. They also have terrible credit, so bad that they can't get a loan. And so I want to show you kind of what I present to them. And if you're in this similar situation, this might help you out. Alrighty, let's change this and let me double check. Okay. So I always start with this image because there's so many twists and turns to buying a home, and it's hard to know which path to take. And so as a loan officer, my goal is to help you save the most money possible, help you, get financing in the most efficient way possible, I guess, as well. And so this specific scenario, the couple were thinking about buying a home and then getting cash out afterwards. So we're going to cover some terms. The first one is delayed financing. Delayed financing is basically getting, you buy the home in cash and then you get that cash back through a loan. And so you're still going to have a loan on the home, but you're going to get a lot of that cash back. A lot of times investors will do this. They'll buy a home in cash so they can get a better deal. They go to the person and say, hey, let's avoid all the back and forth, the realtors and the time that can take, and we'll just buy it for cash right now. And then later on they get a cash back through a loan, through what we call delayed financing. The other thing we're going to talk about is cash-out refinance and how it works. And there's some differences between how much cash you can get back out, how soon you can do it, and FICO score requirements, which for this couple was a big struggle. And so the first one we'll talk about is delayed financing. And this is a conventional loan product. So we'll put conventional in front of it. The max LTV, that means loan to value. So using easy numbers, let's say you buy $1 million home. If you qualified for delayed financing, you could get up to 70% of that $1 million. So $700,000 back, put a loan on the home for $300,000, and now that $700,000 you can go do whatever you want with it. You can go buy another home, do whatever. The nice thing again is there's no waiting period on this. You can do this as soon as you want. Within 6 months of the purchase of the home. And the value that they're going to use, because that loan to value, 70% of what's the value they're using? They're using the lower of the purchase price or the appraisal on the home. 99% of the time, it's going to be the purchase price. Homes probably aren't going to depreciate really quickly. If they do, then they'll use, that'd be weird. Why would you get an appraisal on a home that's depreciated? It's going to be the purchase price 99% of the time. And the minimum FICO score that you need is a 620 on this. And so in this example, as I presented to my borrowers, they didn't have a 620. So this probably wasn't going to be realistic because there were some things that they need to improve, and we'll cover that later in the video. The next option, it's kind of a difference between the month. So in delayed financing, you can do this as soon as you want, in the first 6 months after you close. If it's later than 6 months, then you can actually get more cash out. And so again, using the this product, we'll call it a conventional cash out refinance. Max you can get is 80% out, so up to $800,000 if it's $1 million purchase. The one caveat I'll point out is conventional loans have a limit, and so the limit is going to be $806,500. And if you go over that, so we'll throw crazy numbers out there. Let's say you bought a $2 million home and you want to pull 80% of that. Well, that's $1.6 million. The conventional loan limit is $806,000. So when it goes above that, then we get into jumbo loans. The interest rate gets higher, the terms, everything gets a bit more expensive. So you'll probably still do it, but I doubt it's going to be the 80%. Anyways, there's a whole rabbit hole. I want to kind of make you aware of it, but not go all the way down it. So basically, the conventional cash out makes more sense if you're going to wait more than 6 months on the home, and they're going to be using the appraised value. And so when you see people buy homes in cash and then they turn around and fix and flip them and then sell them, that this is what they're doing. This is the buy, fix, refinance, sell. They're getting all their money back out, and they're getting a pretty good chunk. And the nice thing is, let's say they buy a home that, trying to use round numbers again to help you guys out. They buy a home in cash for $750,000. They fix it up for 6 months, and now the home's worth $1 million. And they do a refinance and they pull 80% out. They bought the home for $750,000, but they actually pulled $800,000 out because it appraised for $1 million. So this is what they're doing, and then they get to sell the home as well to kind of cover all their costs and fixing it up. Minimum FICO score is going to be 620 on this, and so as we go down, I'll go to the next one. The first one is like if you need the cash immediately and you qualify for it, then you can do this within 6 months. The next one, if you buy the home in cash, after 6 months, you can pull a bit more out. They use the appraised value of the home, though, which hopefully it's improved. You maybe have made some improvements to the home to help the price go up and help you get more cash out. The last one that we're going to go over is what we call an FHA Cash-Out Refinance. So there's no such thing as an FHA delayed financing deal. You have to wait on this one. You'll see, I keep pointing the wrong direction because anyways, on this one, you see it takes 12 months. So a year later, you can pull up to 80% cash out. It's going to be based on the appraised value. Again, the FICO score is a bit lower. So if you're struggling to get your credit up, you have all this cash and you're struggling to get your credit up, this might be your only option. And going back to like loan limits, the most FHA will go up to is $546,250. There's no such thing as an FHA jumbo loan. So that's gonna be your cap. If you bought $1 million home, even though technically you can pull 80% out, jumbo or FHA caps at 546. So that's gonna be what, 54%, or I guess the opposite of that, 46% that you could pull out. You really aren't gonna be able to pull out the 80% on that. The recommendation I made to this borrower is you've got access to funds, but at some point you got to get over this hurdle of your FICO score, because this is going to hurt you. You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do any of these if your FICO score is below the 580. And in their scenario, it was below it. And what was hurting them, this is like a snapshot of their FICO score and kind of things that got going on. So they have normal car loans, which is fine. Student loans is fine. The thing that was hurting them were these charge-offs. Charge-offs are where you're not making payments. And so the company says, we're going to ding your credit once and we're going to make it derogatory. And this is what you still owe us. So looking at these charge-offs, if I can add them up, my face is slightly in the way. Let me see if I can lower this, higher it a little bit. There's about $40,000 in debt that they needed to take care of. And so charge-offs are, they're going to hurt your credit, and they stay on your account for 7 years. So the one nice thing, there's charge-offs, there's collection accounts. All these terms might be going over your head. Charge-offs are kind of like this one-time ding, but if you ever touch them, if you ever make a payment on them, it becomes reactive, or it updates the credit report and says, hey, remember, it dings you again. So what you want to do, first off, we don't recommend using a credit repair company. This was actually fascinating. We go to these conventions to learn a lot and rub shoulders with experts in our industry. And there was a lady we met who was worked at a credit reporting company. And we said, I called her just yesterday. I said, do you have any credit repair companies that you recommend? And she said, and she actually is retired. She's like, in my whole career in like 35 years, there's not one reputable credit repair company I would recommend. And the reason why she said that, and people have their opinions, and we have strong ones. Like some people get upset with Dave Ramsey about whatever he believes. This is something we believe. Credit repair companies are garbage, because this is what they're going to do. They're going to do things you could do already. They'll reach out to whoever these companies are. So we got Amex, we got Citibank, we got Bank of America, and they'll say, the first they'll tell you, don't pay them, don't do anything. Okay, that's what we tell you too, because it's going to be on your account for 7 years, and if you touch it re-updates and it hurts your credit even more. They say, don't pay anyone. And eventually these companies will say, we're not going to get any money back from you, so let's settle for something less. So then you reach out to them to settle. The credit repair company, meanwhile, is charging you 10, 15, 20, $100 a month to do things you could already do by yourself. And all they do is ruin your credit. So this is what I recommend for the borrower. Don't use a credit repair company. Call the companies, reach out to them directly. And then this kind of like shoot for the moon, land in the stars. Because the moon would be that you could do a pay for delete, a written agreement where you reach out and you say, hey, I'll pay off this debt. And hopefully you can negotiate with them. Say, hey, I don't have $13,000. I got $7,000. I got half, 6, whatever. I got half. and I'll pay that off. And I'll do that if you'll delete it from my credit report. You'll mark it. We'll take this off. And you want to have that in a written agreement. Don't settle for a phone call or a verbal, whatever. You want that written. You want an email. Better yet, if everyone signed it. 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to reject that and say, no, we're not going to do that. So the star would be the next one below, where you say, okay, let's have written proof of the settlement, and I want you to have it marked as paid rather than settled for less, because if it's settled for less, it's still going to hurt your credit report a little bit. So, and if they won't do that, then we'll have to come down to settled for less. But you got to get these out of your way, because again, it's going to be on here for 7 years. It's going to hurt you. So this is crippling them to the point of they got all this cash, but they can't make wise real estate investment, or just buying a home. They're renting a home right now, buying a home, being able to figure this out. They're limited because no one wants to give them a loan because they've stiffed these people 4 times in a row. And so when the lender goes to review the credit, they say, man, these guys aren't going to pay them back a much lower deal. Why should I lend to them? So you got to get this figured out. And then the last thing I'll say is if you're struggling and can't figure this out, there are lawyers that specialize in these debt negotiations. And I would reach out to one of those because this client has money to spend. And if they can't figure out it directly, then get a lawyer, get a professional who can help you out. Again, don't recommend credit repair companies. I probably offended a lot of people with that statement. Let's see. So the last thing I shared with this client, kind of going over timeline, and actually I guess I'm gonna have to remove my face a little bit. Oh man, that's great. Was that the first thing I said is you should pay down these credit cards, these charge-offs, have them removed if you can. They were renting a home, and so they wanted to wait to buy, which fantastic reaching out early, because a lot of times people wait way too late to get started on their mortgage. This is kind of embarrassing that my face is down here. So I'm going to move my face a little over here so you can at least see me talk. They wanted to wait to buy. So I said, okay, buy in cash, and then we're going to work on getting your credit improved, and then and then as time goes on, once we hit 6 months, if it's improved up to you have a 620 FICO, you may be able to do the cash out refinance, get 80% of your cash out. If it's not improved to 620, then at a year you can get 80%, 80% of the appraised value of your home in an FHA cash out refinance. Really, the goal would be to get above a 620, so to give them some options. But that's it. So I hope that video helped you. It might have revealed a lot. Like, as a loan officer, there's just so many different avenues. Everyone's situation is different. My biggest 2 key pieces of advice, I would say, this couple did great in getting started early. There's so many things that people don't know is holding them back or making their ability to buy a home. It's going to prolong it. And so getting started early, at least as a loan officer, we can direct you and say, here's some things to work on to get qualified, but also to improve your situation so you get better terms later on down the road. I don't remember what else I was going to say. I think I said it, there's 2. But in general, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I hope this video was helpful. Start your home quest.